Let's talk about fasting. So I've been fasting for around 2 years at this point, and it has completely revolutionized my life. And even saying that would be an understatement. Let me give you a description of what my life used to be like prior to me implementing fasting into my routine. I pretty much had lost my ability to say no, and this is partly because we as humans are in 2023 are surrounded by hedonistic desires. Like, look around you: Netflix, pornography, junk food, hypersexualized images all around you. You can have anything that you want. You can have absolutely anything that you want in a matter of seconds. It's all in the palm of your hands. There's an app for everything, right? So when you're just so used to this instant gratification, your brain getting all this stimulus and dopamine almost at will, you kind of lose your ability to say no. Your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, kind of loses to the limbic system, that is the dopamine seeking part of your brain. And that is exactly what I had been suffering with, because I had used a bunch of these things to the extent that I was having a tough time now saying no to them. Fasting definitely helped with that. Actually, helped would be an understatement. Fasting really, really allowed me to beat my cravings for instant gratification. So, yeah, like junk food was one of my biggest addictions. You're tired, you're stressed out, you just open Uber Eats or whatever app you have going on in your country and have high calorie dense food presented to you with little to no effort, and you eat it and you sedate yourself. And this is exactly what I was doing. I believe like at least 2 out of 3 of my meals were fast food, pretty much. McDonald's, burgers, yada yada yada, you know the drill. And it's not like I hadn't tried. It's not like I hadn't decided multiple times that I'm going to stop consuming them, but I just didn't have the will. I just didn't have. I don't know what I didn't have. I did have the motivation, but motivation is a fuel that is fairly limited. I could go maybe perhaps 3 days without consuming fast food until a stressor hits me, and bam, my default response is to go back to instant gratification, which is junk food, and repeat the cycle. And I was in this loop, almost trapped, until I started fasting. Fasting not only improved my ability to say no, my willpower, it also greatly diminished all the cravings that I was having, especially related to junk food. I no longer felt that I absolutely needed to consume this thing and get a dopamine hit from it. There's something about fasting rewiring your brain, for sure. I'm almost convinced that 10, 20 years down the line, there's going to be a lot of scientific literature, especially related to fasting and its role in breaking down addiction. There's a lot of relevant literature when it comes to fasting and other things, such as perhaps going into ketosis and the benefits of ketones, or the way it starts consuming the decayed cells decayed cells in your body and getting rid of toxins. There's a lot of literature present in those regards. However, the role of fasting in helping break down addictions of various kinds, I think that is one topic which is widely under researched, and I think in the coming years you're going to see a lot of developments in these fields. One other thing that happened since I have started fasting is that my sleep has become amazing. Like, prior to fasting, my sleep was horrible, absolutely horrible. I didn't have a sleep schedule. It's not that I didn't try, it's because I couldn't bloody fall asleep on time. Each time I made a commitment that I'm going to go to bed early, I just wouldn't fall asleep. It was almost like I had insomnia. I used to flip around, look at the ceiling, have intrusive thoughts. And it used to take me like an hour or two just tossing and turning before I could finally sleep. And once you've only slept a couple of hours, 6 or 5 hours, because of just tossing and turning and not being able to sleep, it's unlikely that you're going to wake up fresh and with the desire to do things. That was exactly my case. And if I wanted to fix my sleep schedule, I had to go through this torturous cycle where I had to force myself to get up at earlier times, even though I was incredibly groggy and had almost like a hangover. And I had to do this for like 30, 35, 40 days in order to fix my sleep schedule. And that was just way too much. That was way too much. Like going 30 days, suffering for 30 days just to fix your sleep cycle. But fasting did that almost instantly. Now I sleep like a baby. I would actually say that if you're someone who has like really poor sleep cycle or a sleep schedule where you just cannot fall asleep on time, you need to start fasting. You could perhaps try like a 16-hour fast and build up to something like a 24-hour fast. It should only take you like 2 to 3 days just to build up to this number. Trust me. Once you do it, once you break the barrier of 20 hours of fasting, it's going to be pretty easy because your body adapts rather quickly. So I did that, got a couple of 23-hour fasts in, and my sleep schedule was on point. I used to sleep, I am sleeping like a baby now. I think fasting is, your intake of food is something that controls your circadian rhythm, that is your sleep cycle. Along with sunlight, of course, I did make some other changes as to when I was viewing sunlight. The combination of two was almost miraculous. Prior to fasting, because I was consuming a lot of junk, I had put on a lot of weight. Now, this wasn't the kind of weight that you're proud of, where you're massive or big or thick and people are complimenting you left and right. No, this was like the chubby weight. I was kind of fat, bloated cheeks, I had a belly, and I didn't feel good. I was out of breath a lot and just felt shit overall. After 30 days of OMAD, or 30 days of 24-hour fasts, my body ate itself away. All that toxic garbage just disappeared completely from my body. I must have lost around like 4 to 5 kgs in the very first month of fasting. And majority of it was, at least in my estimation, majority of it was weight that I did not need in the first place. I felt good. My skin definitely had several changes. It was almost like glowing. I don't know if it's the right term to use, but I felt like I was exuding this glow. One other under-talked about benefit of fasting is that the sort of thoughts you get when you're not sedated by food are very, very different and unique. It's like your body begins to dig up underlying issues, thoughts present in your subconscious mind that had never been addressed because you were constantly stimulating yourself with food or activities, etc., etc. But once there is nothing to distract you, it's like your body begins to check its backlogs in the subconscious mind, and it brings up thoughts that need to be addressed. And addressing those thoughts relaxes your psyche. You need to try it in order to experience it. Otherwise, you won't have much of a clue that I'm talking about. Let's say there's a memory or there's something that I have ignored or just completely blocked out. Whenever you do a fast, your mind actually goes and seeks that thing, and you sort of derive a moral lesson out of it as to why did it happen or how should I face it the next time it happens. And I think this is a really, really, really underspoken benefit of fasting. It clears your psychological backlog. It's like all those skeletons that you had buried in your cupboard. All those skeletons that you had hidden in your cupboard, they are revealed to you. And you sort of feel emotionally volatile at times because, hey man, you don't want to see all the skeletons in your cupboard, all those monsters that you have been feeding yet pretending that they don't exist. But fasting allows you to see them, and it allows you to address them. You become almost brave. You become brave enough to fix yourself. And I've already mentioned how fasting has definitely helped my sleep. Not just that, once your sleep quality is improved, you wake up not tired, you wake up fresh, you wake up with a desire to do things. And that causes a domino effect. Once you wake up with a desire to do things, you actually get multiple things done, obviously. And it's like fixing the problem of your sleep schedule automatically fixes an array of things. You'll be surprised how many other areas of your life improve significantly once you fix 3 or 4 fundamentals. In my opinion, the 3 or 4 fundamentals could be something like you're having a good sleep schedule, working out, and avoiding all sort of hedonistic, instant gratification giving activities. Once you fix these 3 things, it's like your health is on point, your mind is on point, and you have a meaningful thing to do in your life, something which gives you purpose. I truly believe once you have 3 or 4 of these fundamental things, it's far, far easier to fix all the other things. Even things that might be out of your control, such as life scenarios, a calamity hitting you, you are still much more competent, or you're still much more fundamentally strong in order to deal with these stressors as to where you would be had you not had your fundamentals on point. Then the external life events would absolutely crumble you and you would go down into the pits of hell. Fasting allows you to really, really, really consolidate on those fundamentals. It really builds them up. Your sleep, your health, your mind. And I would strongly advise any young male to give fasting a shot. And another unspoken benefit of fasting is that you are no longer this impulsive rabbit going around and humping things. It really calms you down so that you're no longer thinking with your penis, you're thinking with your brain. It really, really calms the man down. Like, think about it. All of the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, they have a component of fasting in them, and it's often interlinked with spirituality. There's something about fasting and having spiritual thoughts, or being pure or pious. It's not a mere coincidence that the 3 Abrahamic religions just had a component of fasting in them. Not just Abrahamic religions, even Hinduism, I believe, it has a component of fasting in it. So the people back then figured that there was something unique about not consuming food, not consuming material matter. It frees the mind to a degree.